Philly style for true patriots. Whether you're marching in the parade, grilling in the backyard, or raising a toast to liberty, do it in the gear that screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks.
Welcome to The Best of Intentions, a podcast from Intention Films and Media, hosted by writer, director, former film commissioner, and novelist Deborah Markowitz. So join us as we talk about all things creative.
Hey, thank you for joining us today on the Best of Intentions podcast. I am so excited to kick off Women's History Month with an incredible female filmmaker, and I don't want to qualify. She's just a kick-ass filmmaker.
Thank you.
But Letty Buchanan, we have met so many times at different film festivals, but we haven't really sat down and talked that much.
No, we really haven't, just online.
Yeah.
But you're always busy. You're always so busy, which I love.
And then we ran into each other at Grindhouse.
Yes.
At the
Great
Grindhouse
film
Film
festival.
Festival. And I finally saw your film, Betty.
Yay.
That you did with Eddie LeBron, who I also adore. And I'm like, oh my God, now I know why this movie is winning everywhere. It was so damn good. But I want to recommend Letty.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
So what do you prefer? You prefer Letty or Letitia?
Whatever you'd like to call me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Deborah, I'm like, I don't
It
care.
doesn't really matter. But everybody calls me Letty now. It's kind of started a few years ago. I spent a lot of time in Spain, and that's when Letty kind of came. So
Very cool. So I had the pleasure of helping you cast one of your projects. It was In the Closet?
In the closet. Well, just the closet.
Oh, just the closet.
The
Yeah.
closet,
Tell us a little bit about this.
The Closet actually was a story from my 12-year-old son, Callum. And I was talking to him saying, you know what, I think I want to start developing some horror for children because, we had Welcome to Derry and Stranger Things and everything's kind of dying down. I'm like, there's no more Goosebumps. And then other than Goosebumps, I don't know what other children horror there is. But both of my children love horror. My oldest, he can do a little bit more hardcore, but my youngest, he's kind of still a little bit scared. So I was talking to him, I said, what if we did a story about a monster that lives in the closet? So he's just started talking, Mommy, this, and this, and the babysitter. And then I don't want to give away the ending, but I wrote the script out from his ideas. And then when he read the script, he said, Mommy, this is how it should end. And it completely changed the film. The film would not be as strong if it was not for his ending.
Wow.
And then the actress, Elizabeth Bays, which we worked with her before in 21st Century Courtship that we had at Long Island, but she had the idea of changing it to a 1980s babysitting horror.
Ooh.
And that just transformed everything. It was great.
Can we show the trailer for The Closet? This was so cool.
Thank you.
A monster!
Enough. Monsters are not real. Well, it was really cool. I knew that you were looking for a young boy.
Yes.
And so I gave you a courtesy casting on my Instagram. When you gave me the description, I said, I just worked with a young actor, Shep Hawk, on Brimstone.
Right.
And I said, I know he's got a younger brother, and maybe he started acting. So I reached out to Abigail Hawk from Blue Bloods fame,
Yes.
and I put you in touch with her, and that's who you ended up casting.
Yes, now we had Leon Hawk, and oh my goodness, I fell in love with this little boy. This was my first time working with a child actor, and he came on, and he just lit up the set. He did so amazingly, and he got a little tired at some points where it's like, are we done yet? Are we done yet? It's okay, 4 more scenes, 4 more minutes. It's like, you said that 10 minutes ago.
And they will hold you to that.
And he did. He held me to it, but by the end of it, he didn't want to leave. And he blew me away. I think this was his first film.
It was
I think
his
he
first
did.
film.
Yeah, so I feel honored that I got to direct him in his first film, and he just did and went above and beyond what I imagined for the role. So thank you so much. And thank you, Abigail, for...
And there's something about their blue eyes.
I know.
That the camera captures. It's
my
just, it's
goodness.
fascinating.
His yells, his screams, his eyes, his little expressions. It's just, I'm ready to use him again. And we
Beautiful.
just casted him in something else.
She'll love to hear that. And I love giving actors their first chance.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you know
definitely.
this is something they're going to be doing. It's like,
Oh,
well, they were in my my first film,
Yeah.
Whatever.
First time.
Yeah, so that's really a cool thing. So tell me, how did you get into the business in general, and has it always been horror?
No, I actually started in television. And my first television job was with CNBC. I did business news. I worked for the late Louis Rukeyser. I started out as his administrative assistant, and then I became a production assistant. And then they started pushing me into the control room. So I was doing the little graphics during morning call. I started doing that, and I progressed from CNBC. I went to Court TV. Court TV gave me nightmares. The entire time I worked there, I saw a lot of footage that you can't unsee. Yeah. So I got to write for them for a while, and I did I don't remember the name of it, but it was kind of like Today in History, and it talked about previous court cases. And then I did Taxi Cab Confessions with HBO. That was a lot of fun. But I left television for a while because I got to the point where I was too qualified to be a certain type of producer, and then I was underqualified to be the next step of producer. So I packed up everything. I left the country, and I taught English in Spain. But then I met Eddie a few years later. We met actually at an 80s dance party. And the woman he was dating at the time worked for HBO and Eddie worked for NBC. So I was connected with both of them. And then Eddie and I became friends, and we were friends for a few years. And he was shooting 21st Century Courtship. And he had a different producer, and I was highly offended. So highly offended, because Eddie's my best friend. And I'm like, how are you not going to hire me? And he's like, oh, Letty, you don't have experience in film. It's only in TV. I'm like, really? How much different is it going to be? Which it is significantly different. But his producer that he had, his wife had a baby. So I was at Eddie's house when he called to back out of the film. He had no time. Perfect. So in true Eddie fashion, Eddie, I love you dearly. He was freaking out. Oh, we have like 2 or 3 weeks until we are shooting. I don't know what to do. I have to find a new producer. And I'm sitting there. I can do it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can do it. Eddie, I can do it. And he's freaking out. And he's like, oh, Letty, can you just do it? So I did that, and I've been working in film ever since. But when horror came in, it was weird because the first script I ever wrote was kind of gory and horror, and I don't know where it came from. It just came out of me. But going to these film festivals, I started to notice there were no women in horror. Very, very few women in horror. And then I also started to notice there were 0 people of color in horror. I said, okay, so I fit both of those categories. So I'm going to do it just because we're not represented there. So
someone has to.
Yeah, I did it out of spite. Because I didn't really like horror. When I was a child growing up, I loved horror, watching horror with my father. But as I became an adult and growing up in a Christian household, horror was, it was a no-no. You don't do that. And everything scared me because, it's embedded in your head. Everything is demonic. Everything is of the devil. So you don't do that. But I don't know, all of a sudden I started writing, and then I started writing after my dreams and personal experiences. So now, having shot a few horrors, when I watch horror, it doesn't affect me anymore. I'm good.
That's cool. I was on a panel. Have you ever been to the Macabre Film Festival when it still existed?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's been out for a number of years now, but the person who had run it, Elsie, had passed away. But first horror film I thought was horror, called The Last Taxi Driver. It's about stars Robert Claessy from Blue Bloods as a taxi driver who refuses to give up his medallion license when the only people left are zombies. So he's basically trying to find the last few remaining humans while he keeps getting punked by zombies. And I thought it was scary, but actually apparently was a comedy. But when they had the Macabre Film Festival, I figured, well, let me submit it. And I got in. And so I was on a women in horror panel, which was kind of funny because it was me and all these real horror filmmakers. Wow. And, I was the first film I made. So I guess I was already being pegged as a horror filmmaker. And then I did everything else but that until we did Brimstone, which you saw.
Which is terrifying.
Because it's more realistic if you think about it. It
is. That's the type of horror I like, things that happen. Take the everyday things and make it creepy and make it scary, because what's scarier than the real world?
Absolutely.
Especially the state of the world now.
So now, what came first, paralysis or there's Betty? Which one did you do first?
Betty came first. Betty Shoshana Withers, who plays Betty, which everybody knows and loves. Shout out to Show. She had a 1-page scene that she wrote for an acting class. And she called me and she said, I have this 1-page scene. I would love for you, to co-write with me and direct it. And I had never directed before. And I said, I think you mean Eddie. Eddie's the director. I'm not the director. She said, no, Letty, I think you can do it. And thank you, Show, because now I'm directing. So we sat down on the phone for about an hour and a half, and we just started getting these ideas. I opened up, was it Celtics? Some script writing. And we just started writing, and my brain just went into overdrive, and it just really got warped. And I came up with the ending, and she said, oh no, Letty, I don't think we should do that. But I was very insistent on it. And at the time, I was doing a deep dive on incel culture in the UK. And this was long before Adolescence came out, one of the British soap operas that I was watching, Hollyoaks, had a story about incels and how these young boys are being influenced by the incels. So I thought, what if this doctor that is so obsessed with AI was also an incel and used his AI abilities to create this perfect woman that will give in to all of his desires that real women would not do. And that's how Betty
we got to see the
born.
trailer for this one. If we would see the trailer for Betty, please.
I wanna be loved by you, just you, nobody else but you.
Oh, I remember that actually was in the Long Island International Film Expo,
Yes, it was.
which I'm one of the people who runs it for the last 29 years. But I don't watch the film, so I hadn't seen it. It did well there. I don't know if it won or not, but it was all over the place. And I finally got to see it at Grindhouse. And I'm like, oh my God, this movie. And then I fell in love with Shoshana, who was just so incredibly
She was
good
so
and crazy in this.
great.
And Dan Gregory did a phenomenal
Oh, he
job.
did.
So it was really interesting to see that, and I will never forget the speech that you gave, because it won there.
It did. We won a few
Yeah.
things at
And you said
Grindhouse.
when you write something and you send it to Eddie, your confirmation that it's a good script is when he says, you can curse.
Letty, well, my mom and dad might be watching,
No.
so he says, Letty, what the F is wrong with you? And that's how I know my script is perfect.
Because you're getting that visceral feeling from
Yes.
somebody. You
Yeah.
know, it's just not all over the place. It's directed,
Oh, yeah.
into that feeling. So that's
yeah.
really cool.
And then what's funny about Betty is there was only one draft of it. We didn't make any changes to it at all. So what you saw on the screen is exactly what came out when Shoshana and I were on the computer. We made no changes. But any of the ad lib and some of the things that made it comical, that came straight from Dan Gregory.
That's really cool. I've seen Dan bouncing around the festival circuit for
yeah.
probably a decade.
Dan
And,
is a powerhouse.
You know, I didn't, because I never really saw his films. I think
Right.
maybe I saw one or two, but I never, that was a while ago. And then he auditioned for me for, I'm going to say it was a commercial that didn't end up happening, but I'm like, oh, he can act.
Yeah, he
you know?
can.
And then I saw Betty, I'm like, oh no, he can really act.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, so it's like now I'll keep him on my radar.
Oh, definitely. We just actually got to work with him on another film that we shot. I think it was in December, called Archangel. And
Oh,
he
that
was
looks amazing.
that was such a fun set to work on. It was a great script. Sam, I can't remember your last name, Sam.
Potsky.
I'm so sorry. Thank you. Sorry, Sam. But he wrote and directed it, and it was such a privilege to work on. And Dan he blew me away again. He's just such a powerful, amazing actor. He's really good with emotion. And what I actually love in different films that I've done, I always tell the actors or actresses, I want tears. I want snot. And Dan is so good with producing.
Oh, that's amazing.
Snot.
That's really amazing.
He's
how
great.
did you get involved with Sam and whatever? Did you know each other beforehand, or?
I had never met Sam before, but Eddie was introduced to Sam, I think, through Dan Gregory. And then he brought me on. I came on and I was doing gaffing because I started learning gaffing and grip. And then Sam added Love Your Face on as producers. So I kind of helped a little bit with the producing, and then I did the gaffing. But I was on by proxy through Eddie, and I'm so thankful and glad that I did, because it is really great.
The title alone is great, and then the artwork I saw. I don't even know what it's about, but I want to see it.
Oh, it's beautiful. I don't want to give too much away, so Sam, I'm sorry, I won't say too much. But even the logo, it's
gorgeous.
beautiful. It's
Yeah.
so pretty. I forgot who he said made the logo, but he had T-shirts made, and everybody on set was just really talented in whatever position they were in. And Sam he was a good director. We were in the freezing cold. We shot in the snow. We were freezing. But he knew exactly what he wanted. He was open to opinions. And once he got the shot that he wanted, that was it. We were done.
That's really awesome. Was Carrie McGann involved with that also?
Carrie, yes. And Alicia, I don't remember Alicia's last name.
Starts with a G.
Yeah, Gia. Sorry, Alicia.
I know the name. I can't pronounce it. Whatever it is. Starts
I'm
with a G.
sorry, Alicia. And also Christian Kieber.
Yes, Kyber.
Yes. Kyber, sorry.
Yeah, he's
yes.
a couple of guys.
Yes.
Was he acting in it? Or?
He was.
Okay.
He was. I don't want to give too much away about it, but he had a role in it, and he did amazing also. And that was my first time working with him, and it's actually my first time meeting him. Mm-hmm. So the film community is just so small, and once I met him and we started talking, I'm like, oh, okay, I've heard of you, but I've never actually met you. And it was the same thing with Sam and his brother Isaac. We were all in the same community but never really met each other. Mm-hmm. So it was such a privilege to be on that set.
I've met Sam, but only briefly, and we haven't really had that kind of conversation. We're friends on Facebook.
Right.
But that's going to happen eventually. But Christian is in a couple of guys. He plays Sal Rendino's brother.
Right.
And the really cool thing is the second day we shot, usually John Marine, my husband, business partner, is our DP unless he's acting. And but we started with Mark Ryu as our DP 14 years ago, whatever it was. And a couple of guys has been around for a long time. We're finally finishing it up. But I had Christian come in to play Lucas's Sal's brother, and Sal was so excited to work with him because they knew each other.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know that. But all I remember is the second day we're filming with Christian, and the DP and the AD, Mark Ryu and Mara Bush, come up to me. They're like, oh, my God. Yeah. It's like, this guy, like, in like 5 lines just destroyed the room.
And he has that booming voice.
Yes.
That voice, that baritone. He's just he would be great for voiceovers. I mean, he's an incredible actor, but he would be amazing at voiceovers. I love that. He's got that very fatherly, very wisdom wise man type of voice.
That was cool. So it was great to work with him because I'd also seen Christian around forever.
Right.
And when I was trying to think of a brother for Sal, I'm like, he'd be really good. And then I told Sal, I was like, yes, because apparently they'd been wanting to work together forever. And I brought Carrie McGann in there too for a small role. And I've since worked with her too. She's amazing.
Yes, she is.
But this community is so freaking awesome.
And
we still, as small as it is, this kind of people you see on periphery that you just don't know yet.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And a lot of people you're friends with online and you follow their work and you don't get to see them. But then when you go to the festivals, you're all kind of in the same festival circuit. So you keep going to the same festivals and you see the same people over and over and over again. And that's what happened with me with being in horror, because now I keep going to these genre festivals and these horror festivals. So I'm starting to see the same people over and over again. And I become friends with them and now even collaborating with them. And these are people that I've looked up to so much. Like, oh, I hope I aspire to be that type of horror filmmaker or that type of woman of horror. And now these are friends with mine and collaborating.
Would you take a film that's not horror if you like the script?
I would. Absolutely, because I did write one script that's not horror about Love and Neutral. I wrote that with my kid's dad. And it was it's a very personal story. We haven't exposed it to the world yet, but it's a true story, and it's pretty much kind of like a coming out film for us. Yes, and it's definitely not horror.
That's really cool. I know you say you write from your dreams a lot.
I do.
And that reminds me of my second film I did. When I did The Last Taxi Driver, I had already been casting for other people. And the only reason that I did Last Taxi Driver was I wanted to see what made directors crazy. Because I'd worked with a number of them, and they're high-strung and this and that. And now I know.
Yeah.
When
Experience.
When everything is on your shoulders and the location crashes, the actor gets sick, something happens, and you have to fix it no matter what. I understand a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
But I wasn't going to do it again after that because I was already film commissioner. I was making movies in every minute I wasn't at work. So I was either making movies or doing my job. And I said, that's too much work. I can't do that anymore. And but then somebody came to me who was recommended by someone else looking for a producer and a casting director. And then I worked my feature. But so I did Let's Taxi Driver as an experiential thing.
Right.
I wanted to learn. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I was terrified to do it. I'm so thankful I did it. But my next film, Leaving, is the name of it. I just, we were sleeping and I got up at like 3 a.m. and my face is soaking wet because I'm just crying. I'm like, what was that? And so I'm starting to think of the movie and I'm like, oh, this is a movie. And so I got up and by 7 o'clock I had the first draft. Wow. It was such an amazing experience because going to film festivals, I was just starting to do film festivals. I hadn't really done that many yet. And to have people come up to me after and go, oh my God, that means so much to me because, and I'm like, all right, so I talk about the theme of the podcast is movies, magic, medicine, and more.
Right.
So Leaving kind of was magic in a way because I dreamed it, but medicine because it heals people.
Yes.
Who come up and go, that meant a lot to me, or, it's
therapeutic.
Yeah, and without giving it away, it just touched a lot of people, and that is one of the reasons you do it. We do what we're called to do, and
exactly.
I don't think that we think about what the outcome is going to be. We just know we have to make it.
Yeah.
And then whatever it does, whether it's relationships it brings to us, or something we have to exercise in ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
But there's all of that stuff. Now, paralysis. Tell me about paralysis.
Oh, paralysis. Paralysis was a long time coming for me. As soon as I got into film and wrote my first script, I knew eventually I was going to do something with paralysis because I grew up with severe sleep paralysis. It was so bad to the point where at night I was terrified to go to sleep. I would sleep with a Bible on my bed. I would listen to preaching on in my headphones or on the TV. I would sleep with the TV on because I was so terrified. And whenever I went through sleep paralysis, I always had the hallucinations. And certain locations for me were worse than others. My worst bout with sleep paralysis was in Savannah, Georgia, and Edinburgh, Scotland. Those were the absolute worst. And then the very last time I experienced sleep paralysis was in Deltona, Florida, in my grandparents' house. They have since passed away. But that was the very last time, and that was the most terrifying time for me because I don't know, some people call it sleep paralysis demon or sleep paralysis monster, but in my hallucination that very last time, it revealed itself to me. It told me its name, and I had what I thought a conversation with my sleep paralysis monster. I know, in my belief, I know there is scientific evidence behind sleep paralysis, but I also think there's kind of a spiritual thing with it too. So I think it's the two mixed together. But when I woke up from that, I was so terrified. That really, really scared me. So one day I just sat down. I said, I really need to write about my experience with sleep paralysis. And I was talking to the doorman in my building, and someone that lives on the same floor as me suffered really badly with sleep paralysis. And he cornered me in the elevator. He said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to tell you, it freaked me out listening to your conversation. He's like, I just had sleep paralysis last night, and I suffer with it. And this man is just a few doors down from me.
Wow.
So I started talking more and more in the film festivals when we were in the circuit for Betty, and and during the Q&A I started talking about how I wanted to write something about sleep paralysis, and the amount of people that came up to me and that were telling me about their experiences, I said, okay, this film has to be made.
So what exactly is it? I mean, I have an idea of what it is, but what is sleep paralysis?
From what I understand is your body does not wake up, but your mind wakes up, and you can't move, you can't speak. The only thing that moved for me were my eyes. And when I tried to speak, it was always felt like something was sealing my mouth shut. And a few times it felt like something was crushing my chest in.
Oh dear God.
And and I didn't know what to do. How do you get out of it? And a few times I tried to just go with it just to see how far it would go. And those times that I just let it happen were the darkest times. And those were the worst hallucinations I've ever had. But the only thing I knew to get out of it was to pray. So I would just pray. I'm like, oh God, please help me. God, please help me. Please help me. And most people that I've spoken to, they say they don't know what to do either. So a lot of people, they just know to pray. Whether you're Christian or Buddhist or whatever religion you are, the only thing people knew to do was to pray to get out of it. So I incorporated that into my script as well. And for this film, every single cast member and every single crew member was a victim of sleep paralysis.
How long is the film? Is it a short?
It's a short. It's about, I think it's 6 or 8 minutes, Eddie? How long is it? 6.5 minutes.
But it's not a documentary. It's just...
not. I wrote it so that the audience would feel like they were in sleep paralysis. So it is very, very little music in it. It's just very atmospheric sound. And music composer Eric Shantz, he is in my brain. This man is such an amazing musician and composer. And I told him I need a theme song for paralysis. I want a play on the tick-tock of a clock and breathing of a monster and the victim, breathing very heavily. And I said, I want atmospheric sounds throughout it, because some people say when they are in sleep paralysis, it has a sound of an airplane taking off or underwater or everything is muffled in the ears. So mine was more kind of like staticky, muffled type of sound. I never really heard voices except for the very last one that I told you about. So he took the film and he just did exactly what I wanted.
This sort of sounds like an ayahuasca trip in a way. I don't know if you've ever done that, but you can't.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Oh my God.
It's like the worst thing ever. I mean, I think there's benefits to it, but it's like you're out of it, but you can't wake yourself up.
No.
And it's awful.
It is.
I can't even like smoke because I just feel like that's what I go into, and it's like,
oh, wow.
I need to know what's going on around me.
Yeah.
It's just they say you're supposed to surrender. Like, no.
Oh, no. I tried to surrender, and when I did surrender to it, that's when the darkest things happened. I remember one time I was in Brooklyn. I was living with my aunt, and I was having sleep paralysis, and I just let it go. I said, I'm just going to go with this and see what happens.
You're supposed to surrender to come out of it, but it got worse.
Oh, it got worse. I saw my hallucination was, the little figure on bathrooms that's like the man and woman? I saw the male one just running across my apartment, just the little male on the bathroom. That was my hallucination. And then I've had hallucinations of an old woman just kind of perched over me. It was very, very creepy. And that's how I created the sleep paralysis monster. I didn't want to use CGI. I wanted an actual real monster.
Oh my God. We got to see this trailer. Can we see the trailer for Paralysis, please?
Evil ain't always a red-skinned devil with a pitchfork. Sometimes evil is that nightmare that slides in quietly.
Oh, paralysis. Yeah, that's terrifying. That's terrifying. I mean, I went to a shaman, I don't know what you call him. A talented guy, but not that it was frightening, but when they're doing that thing, your eyes are closed, but I could see like somebody coming face to face with me.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. And then I could feel like a dog, the spirit of a dog, like in my face. And you knew that stuff was there, but that wasn't scary because I guess I knew I could get up if I wanted to,
right.
But I felt really safe where I was.
Okay.
But that would be terrifying to me.
Yeah, you have absolutely no control over anything that happens. And the woman that we casted, Lola Strange, she does creepy carnival types of things. So she knows how to contort her body, contort her body in so many weird ways. And she said this was therapeutic for her to actually play a sleep paralysis monster because she also had suffered with sleep paralysis. So now she was on the other end of it, and she fully committed, absolutely committed. It took about 3 to 3.5 hours of her makeup to get it done. And we had the peeling skin and the teeth and the eyes. And
is that movie out on the festival circuit? Or
it just entered the festival circuit. It
okay.
just entered. We just submitted. So fingers crossed we'll hear for something soon. And we also submitted it for the George A. Romero Women in Horror that they're doing. So they announced that next week.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
I realized yesterday that somebody had reached out and offered me a waiver for a film festival. And I'm like, okay. And I went, oh my God, I totally forgot to submit any of my films to film festivals in like a while.
Oh my goodness.
I told John I got to sit down, because time is going by and I've been too busy to do that. But, I might pick your brain for film festivals for Brimstone or I think I want to get Brimstone done before we show A Brimstone Lullaby. We premiered that at Austin Revolution, I think, this year. But I haven't submitted it anywhere else. But I think that the first Brimstone deserves,
oh my goodness, definitely
a shot to get out there.
I mean, I know you didn't intend for it to be horror, but I would submit Brimstone definitely to horror festivals. It's creepy.
It's great.
I think it's a different type of horror. The religious, I like religious horror when it's not demonology or anything like that, but, it really shows, I don't want to give away too much of it, but it messed with my mind.
I mean, the fun thing was I knew that John had acted before.
Right.
He had small roles in movies, and he was a therapist. He was, I think, a strip club owner, a chop shop owner. He was a gay delivery driver.
Oh, I want to see that.
Very short role in Couple of Guys, but we didn't have an actor. It's like, well, let's just make it John. But when we did Brimstone, we did it because we had just wrapped Waitlist, and it was a very light romantic comedy, and we just sold it. And Travis didn't know that John acted, Travis Grant. So he said, well, I want to do something with John. Let's do something like Good Will Hunting. I'm like, nah, we're gonna stretch you a little bit. And so I wrote Brimstone. It was my idea, and I figured, well, who would they be? They would be father and son.
Right.
But the fathers obviously had a much more difficult life in some ways than the son. So John came up with like a lot of the religious verbiage and whatnot that we used. And it was so awesome to watch. And it was, when it came out, it's like, oh my God. And I know that both John and Travis have won a lot of awards for that.
They well deserved.
So it was really great to see that. And, when you see somebody that you love does something wonderful, and it's like, damn, how do I beat that character, though?
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard when you have such a strong character to try to top that.
Because you don't want to do the same.
No.
I mean, there is a Brimstone universe, so he does play Franklin a few times, but you don't want every character to be that.
Right.
So how do you do something as powerful? That's difficult.
That is really hard. And all of the accurate religious verbiage that John incorporated into that script is what made it even more realistic and more terrifying for me. That's what, you go to these festivals and you see some films that, you think they're good, but then there are some films that actually stick with you. Brimstone stuck with me because of the way I grew up. And I've seen it twice because I saw it at Long Island and then I saw it at Grindhouse. So it really, or no, maybe I just saw it at Grindhouse.
Yeah. Because I don't play
No, I did. Yeah. I just saw it at Grindhouse. But I saw it somewhere else. I just don't remember where it was. But I've seen Brimstone twice. But it stuck in my brain so much. Like, wow, this is very realistic. And somewhere there is a Franklin lurking.
Of course there is.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe on Long Island.
Maybe. Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about Franklin because we do want to do it as a feature. And, so we've come up with some really cool ideas for it. And it's just really deciding, does he really believe in religion? or is he just a sadist who uses it, or you know? So we have a lot of conversations about that. But it's just a great character. I can't let it go yet.
Yeah. But
So-
the way he played the character, he's kind of in that middle line where does he really believe in it, or is he using it, weaponizing Christianity or weaponizing the religion, which is happening in the world so much right now.
Oh my God, yeah.
So that's between the state of the world and then the way I grew up in, conservative Christian family. Brimstone, I can't say it enough. It messed with my mind because of that. And there's definitely a market for that right now. So I mean, I know you don't want to repeat the character, but I want to see more.
Well, you'll see it in Franklin. I mean, he does appear a little bit in Brimstone Feature, which is mostly about Daphne and David,
Right.
Which is Travis Grant and Julia Weiner. And this movie is blowing me away. I hope it's as good as I think it is.
It is.
Because you never know. But it's just... she plays this very idealistic, very, very brilliant young college student
Right.
who is doing her thesis on trauma and addiction and how trauma drives addiction. And so she interviews all these people, and I did so much research on this, and I spoke to people who I've known forever. I didn't know they're heroin addicts at one point. I didn't know, and the people who now have careers and whatever. And so I used a lot of that in this. And he is and because of his relationship with his very, very abusive father, where he would just constantly get beat when things broke in and just, and then always religion shoved down his throat. So
Right.
even though he's gotten clean and he's functioning, he doesn't know how to connect with anybody.
Yeah.
So it's, whenever things start to go good, he gets the voices. You know how we have the
Yes.
voices in the back of our head? These are like
Definitely.
real voices,
Yeah.
And what they do is they do such an amazing job with this. And it's just, if people don't cry at this, I'll be very, very surprised.
Yeah.
Because as you know, when things start to get good, if you have issues, that's when they come out. And so it's just watching this person trying to have a decent life, and he just crushes everything that loves him because he doesn't know what to do with
Yeah.
it. And then she's stuck between the lead character, between actually really falling for this guy, thinking she can fix anything because, of course, she's an amazing psychologist,
Right.
to be, and doesn't realize she is getting smack dab in the middle of a codependent relationship.
Wow.
And when she realizes it, now what do you do? Because you love the person.
It's
but
too late. You're already connected and you love this person. And, she probably is thinking in her mind, okay, I can fix him. I have all this experience. If I can't fix him, then really how good is my experience?
Yeah. So that's more that psychological part of
Right.
it. And so it's very different than what Franklin's going to be, which is pure horror film. It's we've been, again, I can't wait to write that. I wrote the first scene. Do you want to hear the first scene? This is about you, but I got to
I do. No, I want to hear.
So what I see is the back of Franklin's coat, that
Okay.
old dusty duster, if you will, with the hat and the long hair, and you just see him from the back, and he's walking into the library, and you see the doors open, and there's all these families there, and they see him, and they're all turning away because they're like, who is this guy? So psychopaths can be very, very charming.
Yes, they can.
So you still see him from the back. He sits down in the chair in front of the computer room, and everybody's looking at him. And then he turns to the woman in the reference desk. You still don't see his face, and he says, "Darling, I can't figure out how to work this thing." And he hands her a library card. She goes, "Will you help?" "Oh, of course I will." Mr. Herrick, he goes, "Franklin, call me Franklin." And that's the beginning of it. It's all from the rear until he pulls up the computer screen, and then the camera comes up and you see his eyes.
Oh, I love that.
So that's the first scene, and then I had to put it away because I have to finish everything else first. But
That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, I can envision it.
Yep.
The eyes. Oh, so creepy. Oh, I can't wait.
I know. That's going to be 2020. We got to get through 2026 and
Oh my gosh, 2026.
3 features we got to finish this year. We have Brimstone. Well, Waitlist is going to be sold, so we have to get that out there. And so 2 features we have to finish besides the one we're getting out there. Yeah, so that has to wait till 2027.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, I can.
So my
Love it.
plan and my geniusness, my plan is to do Franklin, write a prequel and a sequel, which somebody else will do, and just pay us a ton of money to do. So
That's a dream, right?
I got it all figured out. But, of course, getting there and doing it all. So what's next for you? What else do you have going on?
Oh, well, we had this idea. On New Year's Eve, Eddie and I had a conversation. Okay, what are we going to do for Love Your Face for the rest of the year? And then we just came up with this idea just to make 12 micro shorts by the end of this year. And then just see what happens for that. Because both of us have been, juggling around different ideas for features. But in the meantime, we want to keep shooting because I feel kind of unfulfilled when I'm not in pre-production. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people say to me, they think, oh, you're always working on something, because I constantly want to be in pre-production for something because I start to feel antsy. Yep. And that whole, if you don't use it, you lose it type of thing. Mm-hmm. So we said, okay, well, we're coming up with ideas to actually do our first Love Your Face feature. Let's just do these micro shorts. So we come up with these ideas and we just start writing and writing and writing. And we've already shot The Closet. And then we shot another idea that Eddie had called Terror in the Glow.
What is it called?
Terror in the Glow. It's about a monster that moves through the lights and electricity. And that was really fun to shoot. That one has no dialogue. And then the next one that we are in pre-production for, and we actually have our table read tomorrow, is called the GB program. And it's about a company that is actually part of IntelliCorp, where Dr. Banter from Betty is a part of, but this company monopolizes on people's grief. Ooh. So they're basically scamming people out of money because of their grief and trauma. And Eddie is directing the first part, and he came up with a company Bible of the character Mr. Chad. Is it okay, Eddie, if I speak about it? Mr. Chad, the CEO of the GB program, came up with like this Bible of the inner workings of the company and how he came up with the idea for it. And when I read the Bible that Eddie wrote for the company, I had an idea. I said, what if we did, for Mr. Chad, a documentary, because so many people are calling out the GB program as a scam, and we can do it kind of like the style of The Office, how they had the documentary crew come in about the paper company. So he said, oh, I love that idea. So I sat down and I turned everything off, and for 2 hours I just wrote that part of the GB program. So he's going to direct that first part, and I'm going to direct the documentary part, which we get to work with Leon Hook. Again, he is casted as a child, and his mother, Abigail, is actually playing the mother.
I love that.
So they're going to play together in that, and I'm so excited. I'm really excited.
She
to
sent
see
you a
them
hug,
together.
by the way. I was chatting with her today. She goes, and I told you were my guest, and she goes, "Oh my God, give her a hug for me." So
Abigail, hug back. But I'm so happy she accepted the role, and we get to work with Leon again, and she's going to be a part of this documentary of the inner workings. And what I'm so excited about is we get to collaborate with someone we met at Long Island Film Festival, Michael Coppola.
Oh my God.
Yes, he's actually playing Mr. Chad. Mm-hmm. And I'm obsessed with the entire Coppola family now. So we casted him and his wife.
Oh wow. I didn't know she was an actress.
She was actually in The Creep. Was The Creep at the Bar?
Creep down the block. The creep at the bar. The creep at the bar down the block.
Creep at the. Like that? Oh, I'm sorry, Michael. Like The Creep at the Bar.
Last night.
Last night. Thank you.
Okay.
And I really liked that feature. That was so well done, and I fell in love with the entire Coppola family when I saw that film. And Eddie and I were talking, like, Mr. Chad is definitely Michael Coppola. Beautiful, beautiful. So now he's in every part of the GB program, I always say GB project, because now he's Mr. Chad. So we cast his wife as the producer and interviewer that is doing the documentary for him. So we get to see the inner workings of
That's
the
so
program.
cool. And that's another movie I haven't seen because I don't judge and I
Right.
haven't watched the movies now. I'm kicking myself. I didn't see all
If
of
you
these.
can, definitely get a link to it. They did such an amazing job. And that's why I really love going to these film festivals, because you get to collaborate with all of these people that you met. And if it wasn't for Long Island Film Festival, I would have never seen that film. And I would have never followed him and followed what he's doing and able to send him, auditions and that sort. And he actually read for Love and Neutral, the other film I wrote with my kid's father, and he blew me away. So when I saw that, I said, okay, we have to keep him in the back burner for that creepy role. And then when we saw John read, like, oh my God, John, he's perfect for these creepy, grimy type of characters, even though he's such a lovely person. I feel so badly, but he's just, when he read, I said, I see a lot of creepiness. I really want to muss him up a lot. And I had a nightmare last week. And in this nightmare, there was this type of cult leader that was telling people, all these people came in a circle, and he told us we had to sit for 55 minutes in the dark to get this prize. You can't speak, you can't make any sounds. And in the dream, it didn't specify what the prize is or why I was there. But the cult leader or the moderator now in the script that I wrote after it looked exactly like John.
Oh my God. John, you're in,
Just like John.
you're in people's nightmares, John.
I'm sorry, John. But after that nightmare, I had to lock myself away and just write the script about that. And I found out there were some meanings and significance behind number 55. I looked online, in angel number 55, it said letting go of old beliefs and embracing new and new transformations in life.
I love that.
So yeah, I'm like, okay, so it's called 55 minutes. And I need a little bit more in the script. So I sent it to this woman that I met at Renegade Film Festival. She's an award-winning screenplay writer, Brittany, and she's such an amazing writer. Everything she writes just gives me all kinds of goosebumps. And I sent it to her, and I'm excited to see what she's going to add to it, because I need someone who wasn't involved in my nightmare to give a little bit more touch to it. But I have to shoot it. I think this is truly the scariest thing I've ever written.
That's amazing.
Oh, it has a lot of the bone cracking type of horror that I normally would not watch.
Yeah, that's the stuff I can't watch. It's like, ow, ow.
So you might not want to see this.
I'll see it anyway. I'll just sit there like this with my hands. I watch a lot of movies like this. And you can still see it. But
you
for some
can.
reason it feels safer. I don't know.
I actually used to be like that, and I would just kind of peek like that. But now I actually watch and look because I want to take notes so I can add it into whatever I'm writing. But right now I'm huge on watching The Beauty on FX. It's so disgusting.
The Beauty, it's called?
It's called The Beauty. It's absolutely disgusting series. It's the grossest show I've ever watched. I love it. I'm obsessed. It's given me so many ideas. Anthony Ramos from Hamilton is in it, and Ashton Kutcher is in it. And if you haven't seen it, it's
The Beauty on FX. Okay,
The Beauty
so we'll
on
have
FX.
to try to watch
You're going to
this.
watch it like this.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
The last episode I watched, this is one thing, I can watch a lot of body dysmorphia and I can watch a lot of bloody and gory things, but for some reason, anything involving fingernails, I can't look at. It's just so disgusting. And this last episode of The Beauty, it had some fingernail things. So that's the first time I actually had to go like that. But
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to watch a little more horror because want to do Franklin just to,
Right.
get some ideas of what it. And my idea of horror is probably not what most people's idea of
Right.
horror is. We did a film that John gave me the idea for, but I wrote it called Gem and the Photo Op, which we did many years ago. And I sent it to Jeremiah Kipp
I love Jeremiah.
for his feedback on it. And sometimes I send him stuff, and I don't send him stuff anymore because I don't think he's. I don't write what he likes,
Right.
Like a couple of guys didn't get it, whatever. But I sent him this just for his feedback, and he went, "Oh, see, now this is really scary." Even though it's not a horror film per se, he said personal relationships could be the scariest.
Yes, they can.
All, So we really should resurrect that movie because that was a pretty good movie with Diana Durango and Jimmy Pravasilis, and it's about a woman who is realized she's being filmed in her house. And she tells her husband, who just thinks she's crazy.
Right.
So it's just the relationship between, she's going through her iPad, she's an influencer, a beauty influencer. She's going through her iPad until she sees a picture that's her sitting there looking through her iPad.
Oh, that's so creepy.
I know. And then it's just like she screams to her husband, but of course the picture's gone by the time he looks at it. And that was actually a really cool low-budget film. And John set it up so that we had this black and white camera, I think it was, filming her
In black
as
and
he
white.
was filming that.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was actually a cool little film. I don't know why we dropped that off so quickly.
You have some horror in you there. Come on, join us. We need more women in horror.
Yeah, I mean, we probably will, because except for we do have these features and 2 more we want to get done. And I just want to do short films.
I understand.
Things we can actually afford that aren't going to kill us, that, I'm not raising money for constantly, that kind of stuff.
That's what I'm afraid of with feature, because these feature ideas I have, they're so grandiose, makeup and
Makeup is expensive.
That's the thing. I've started writing a feature about aliens that kind of possess people through music, and my son again said, "Mommy, what if they have like these mandibles and their chin splits open?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, dollars."
Yeah.
But that's really, really cool. And Eddie gave it the title last night, "A DJ Slayed My Life." And I love the title, and I kept the title, and I started writing it, and I'm like, you know what? I really want to do a bloodbath, kind of like Blade, and have the blood coming from the ceiling. I really want to make it really, really gross. So I wrote the ending before I even wrote everything coming up to it. And it's going to be so expensive to make. And I'm trying to think of all these cheap ideas where I can actually shoot a feature. But all the ideas I have, they're so expensive. So maybe if I shorten them and just come up, just do it as a short, and maybe someone will say, "Hey, do you have a feature? Here's some money." Like, let somebody else pay for it.
I know. We have somebody came to us with a script that's an action piece. The story's, I don't know if cute's the word, but that there's a nice little story, but mostly to me it's eye candy. It's just people getting shot up and blood flying and this and that. But then you have to figure if you're doing this in somebody's house, you can't ruin somebody's house.
That's true.
So it's going to be mostly stuff coming through the shirt that
Right.
So we're trying to figure out where it's as inexpensive as possible while still being very realistic.
Right.
The person gets shot and turn around, and then you see the blood dripping down the front, so we don't have blood splatters
Oh, yeah.
everywhere. And
But the blood splatter is the best part, and it's the
know.
most expensive.
I know. It's or like John wrote something called. He sent it to you, a different kind of game.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's another thing. It's makeup, but what we were looking at, whether you do it, whether we do it, is what can we do that's the most realistic.
Right.
That's the most. I'd rather have less that looks very realistic.
Yes.
Than all of the makeup that looks cheesy.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't work. That just takes you out of it.
Yeah, you don't want that unless you're trying to resurrect those 80s cheesy type of horrors, but
I think of doing that, and I think it would be a lot of fun, but I know me.
yeah.
And we're going to go right for the expensive effects.
Of course.
I keep telling them I want to do this really, really cheesy horror film. I want it to be fun. I want it to be goofy. And then it's like, but that's not what it's going to end up being.
No. I like all the blood and gore and seeing things pop out of. I wrote this one script about a woman who goes on online dating, and she wants to be the last woman that men fall in love with. And part of it is she collects the hearts of men. And I'm thinking, how are we going to do this? How can we get makeup and have a chest sliced open and she stick her hand in and rip the heart out and I want to see it pulsating. Like, there's no cheap way to do that. And I know, I've heard, horror is one of the lesser expensive genres to make. Someone said that to me.
Not if you're doing good effects.
Exactly. If you want to do practical effects, which I want to do, I want to stick my hand in things. I want to see things splatter and fall out, and it's just expensive. And thank God, Shoshana introduced us to this makeup artist, Tina Solano, and oh my goodness, she did the makeup on Paralysis. She did the makeup on Betty, Love and Hatred in Megawave City. She's been our go-to, but her horror makeup is insane. And up until now, she's been doing really great, working with our budget, but I want to give her what I know she deserves. I don't want to cheapen out. So I rather hold something on the back burner until I have, the funds to give people what they deserve. There are times to call in favors, and then there are times where I'm like, I don't want to do that to people. I feel really badly.
You don't mind having that collaboration thing where maybe you can barter a little bit.
Yes.
Then there comes a point where, this one we gotta bite the bullet a little bit.
Exactly. And that's the next few that I have is kind of like, I want to wait. I want to wait till I'm able to give people what they deserve, because that's the most important to me. You're giving your all. You're putting your talent out there. You're getting your craft out there. You deserve to be compensated for your hard work.
We all deserve to be paid what we're worth.
Exactly.
And we have things that we do that people come in, but we always make sure everybody gets paid something.
Exactly.
Never enough for what they deserve to be paid, but we do a lot for people too that we don't ask for anything back, and we barter when we can and whatever. But this time it's a bigger project. If people hire us, then we pay more. You know. In fact, I love our crew members. One came up to us and he said, "Deb, I just want you to know there's a lot more here." I'm like, somebody else is paying the bills.
Exactly. Yeah.
When someone else is paying the bills, we're going to make sure you all get paid more. But yeah, you do feel bad, but at the same time, how else do your movies get made?
That's true.
You're going to make one movie for 5 years. You're going to make 5 movies a year.
Exactly. Anybody out there that knows me or doesn't know me, and you want to work on the cheap or zero at all? 0.
For great experience.
Thank you.
This is a great team over here.
Thank you.
You guys have gotten some great credentials and great collaboration to have. It's just, that's why people often call us, and one guy does sound for, I think, Saturday Night Live, and so he goes, "I'll work for you guys for next to nothing."
Wow.
I said, "No, next to nothing means next to nothing." He goes, "I don't care." He said, "I want to work with you guys." So you do get people like that on occasion. We're always very honest, that you will get paid. Can't be a lot. I just can't be, you know.
Yeah, I try to let people know up front, okay, this is ultra low budget, or this is 0 budget, or I can pay you, but can you wait until this date? But if we say wait until this date, we got to make sure that date they actually get the funds, because people still have to live.
Yeah.
But, you have so many scripts and just not enough money to produce them all.
And you want to do everything. I mean, yeah, I mean, we're always like, I'll start writing something like Franklin and put it to the side because I know I can't get there yet. And then we're always trying to think of the least expensive way to do the best job we can. And there's one person I worked with in the very beginning, very talented guy, and when I was doing a project, "Hey, you're going to bring me along?" I said, "I don't even want to embarrass you."
Wow.
By telling you what I want to pay people. And so he goes, "Well, just tell me." He goes, "Well, I make a lot more than that." I said, "No, I know. That's why I didn't ask you."
Yeah.
"Well, it's not fair." I said, "You don't have to do it."
Exactly.
Because you know how much money I made on these films? Nothing.
Sure.
So, it's really rough. We all deserve to get paid what we're worth. But we've helped out so many people, too, over the time where it's like, well, this is what my day rate is. I cast a couple of films last year for somebody, and they came out amazing. But he didn't have a lot of money, and he said, "Well, somebody said I should come to you." And I said, "Well, make me an offer." He goes, "Well, tell me." I said, "Look, you can't afford my day rate.
Yeah.
Make me an offer But understand, this is coming from the pool of actors I know, the celebrities, the names, and courtesy. But I cannot do the full in-depth, getting thousands. I can't do that for next to nothing. You know, it's just too much of a time suck. Or if I'm writing for somebody, I can't give you 6 months of my life and not get paid.
Yeah.
I can look at your script and give you some changes, and you know, if I can do that, if I have time. But you know, you try to help each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's. I understand it's a paycheck. I understand we all have to make a living, you know. But sometimes it's for the experience. Sometimes it's bringing somebody up who hasn't had the experience before. Our first film, The Only Woman in the World, we trained almost an entire crew other than hair and makeup.
Wow.
And the gaffer. We trained everybody.
But that must have been such an amazing experience for each one of them.
It was exhausting.
I'm sure, but now they can say they've worked with such a powerhouse
And some
team.
of them do this for a living now, you
Yeah.
know. So, and some realize that's not for them, you
Right.
know. But at the end, we were totally exhausted. There were days where it was me and John doing sound and shooting it, and me directing and doing everything else, and 2 actors. And it's like, all right, it's what we got today. It's what
You
we're
have to
doing.
wear the multiple hats.
Yeah.
You have to know how to do different positions so that you don't have to pay yourself.
Yeah. So how we doing time-wise?
It's 2 o'clock.
All right, so it's 2 o'clock. So I want to thank Letty Buchanan for being here and kicking off Women's History Month, which is really awesome. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Your movies. Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Letty Mode or at Love Your Face Films. And I see all the people logged in. Thank you so much. I see my family and
look at
Asha
that.
and Tamala, who I'm getting to work with very soon. And yay, look at that.
More people. That's cool. But thank you so much. If you can't get Letty's info, reach out to me and I will get it to you. She's awesome, and I know we'll have Eddie LeBron on hopefully in a few weeks after Women's History Month. And thank you so much. Thank you to
Thank you for
governors.
having me.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.